envision three female attorneys coming together to have our voices heard. Each of us would have different opinions, different passions, different backgrounds, and different views. Although we are different and unique, we are able to come together to discuss our experiences, navigating through the legal profession and this thing called life. Now, the vision has come alive, and we invite you each and every week to listen to us as we talk about what's trending in the news and our legal insight, tackle real life issues that affect not only us as attorneys, but us as women of color. Disclaimer: this podcast is intended to provide entertainment and general information. The information provided and the views given are not intended to constitute legal advice and should not be relied upon as legal representation. All views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever we are affiliated with now or will be affiliated with in the future. Hey guys, it's your girl Brandy, and we are back with another edition of No Further Questions. I hope everybody has been having a good week, a good April so far. It is springtime. I hope everybody had a great Easter as a Resurrection Day. I know I said that last show, but still. Today, we are doing something different. We're doing something fun. It's been a while since we talked about ourselves. I think about episode 1, we talked about ourselves, and maybe we haven't really came back to reintroduce ourselves. And so a lot of things have happened since we started our first episode. So today's special guests are us. No Further Questions, your favorite attorneys. So we are our own special guests. So bring you to the stage. Reintroduce yourself. T. Hutch, who are you?
Hi, I'm T. Hutch, also known as Taria. Do we give our last names out?
I mean, you can't. I don't know. I mean, it shows on Zoom, so.
Hutch is short for Hutchinson. Hey guys, how are y'all?
And reintroduce yourself to our audience, Sam Fraze.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Sam. Hey y'all, it's me.
That's what you giving the people?
Different year, same Sam, you know.
We should have had music to describe it.
We should. She played her idol's husband, you know, she rapped his song, so.
False idols, but.
Beyond.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's get started. So I came up with some questions because I'm pretty sure also when we had our first episode, I mean, of course, y'all know who we were then and who we are, and we've evolved over time. But I also think that I don't think our audience knows what we actually do as a lawyer per se. Because for instance, you know, everybody's like, oh, they're lawyers and they're great. But it's like, okay, well, what areas of law do we practice? What are our day-to-day? For instance, you know, sometimes we can't always be together on episodes because we do have jobs that require us to work well after the normal 8 to 5. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So let me get started, and we're going to start in the beginning. I'm going to go real deep into it. So Sam, how do you like the practice of law?
I enjoy it depending upon what day you ask me. I think overall, I think I enjoy practicing law.
How long have you been practicing?
Almost 10 years, maybe 9 years.
What area?
Family law.
Do you like family law?
Yeah, I actually do. Lately, I've been getting more like child welfare issues and being the amicus for things, which is the attorney who represents the child. I think I enjoy being the middleman versus being on one side or the other, but I enjoy representing kids and families and people, helping them. So yeah, I do enjoy family law, even though some people hate it.
I'm one of them.
Oh no,
I hate it. Whoever listening, I'm just forced into it. But yeah, Taria, how do you like the practice of law?
My answer was going to be the same as Sam's. Depending on what day of the week it is, will tell you how I feel. Some days I have one foot out the door, and I plan my exit strategy, and I plan my nonprofit, and I plan all the things that will happen after I start practicing law. There are other days where I say I'm going to die being a lawyer in my chair, right? So it just depends on the day of the week. But for the most part, I do enjoy being a practicing attorney.
So what area of law do you practice?
I do civil litigation. So I started out as a plaintiff's attorney representing the people fighting against the man. And then about three years ago, I decided to see really who this man was. And so I jumped over to the other side. So now I sit on the defense side representing businesses, corporations, and I guess defending them against the innocent victim, as they would like you to see. So
that's very unique though, because most of the time you have people going the opposite way, right? So you have people on the defense going to represent the little guy.
Correct.
Said, F the little guy.
I'm going to represent the man.
Something like that. I think though that the plaintiffs who get in front of me are lucky, because I'm probably going to be one of the few people that's going to give them the ability to talk as much as they want to get their whole entire story out. And if they are actually injured and suffering as much as they say they are, then I'm probably the person that's going to allow them to have a voice. If you have lied to get some money, I'm probably not the person that you want to talk to, because I know every trick of the trade. I learned in Austin cowboy law, so I know what you're doing and how to bust up your lawsuit.
Well, cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Brandy?
Depends on the day. Yeah, it depends on the day. Every other day, I'm quitting in my mind, but I quit every other day in my mind. But I mean, it's rewarding to have its moments, you know. So here I am.
What type of law?
So I practice family law, do a little landlord tenant. I help the poor people that can't afford attorneys. My majority of my clients are domestic violence and sexual assault. So I am usually trying to help survivors flee their abusive situations. So that can be kind of taxing at times. And
That's very noble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, you know, that's my case.
Type of personality. I didn't have the personality.
I didn't have the personality either. I just kind of.
Domestic violence is the reason why I think is so taxing is because you can help someone legally, but a lot of times they go back to that situation. So it's like, you done busted your butt getting this protective order, getting the person place to stay, getting, they rent paid up so they can move, and you call in and the bees are right in their new house. Okay. All right.
Well, 7 times they usually go back. They usually go back 7 different times. And then on 8th time, they finally leave. Right. There's several reasons why they go back. It could be that's all they know. Right. It's a comfort thing. So you're right. I mean, it can get tedious. A lot of times I am more on the counselor part of the attorney versus the attorney. Great thing is we have a social worker that assists with that as well, because I'm like, I'm trying to legally help you in a sense to where I'm trying to help you get set up so you won't have to go back. But then when it's all and as we know, in the legal system doesn't work as fast as everybody wants it to. Right. Then they're like, well, I'm just going to go back because you taking too long. Fine.
You going back because you want to go back.
And I was going to say, I think for me, switching from plaintiff to defense, on the plaintiff side, that was probably, if I had a complaint, that was my complaint. I did not practice law as much as I felt like I needed to. Our licenses say, if you ever curious to know what an attorney's license says, it says attorney and counselor at law. If you go find one, That's exactly what it says. And I never understood why I said the counselor part until I worked as a plaintiff's attorney, and you will spend majority of your day counseling people. Because most people, I do civil, so I work with money, and everybody always says they want money, right? But really they just want justice. And so it doesn't matter how much money you give them, their answer is always, but it's not fair. Right. So from the money standpoint, I'm like, listen, how much money do you want? But it's not fair. I want my day in court. And so you spend a lot of your time counseling them more than actually practicing. And I say that when you're in those type of fields, you should probably have your own counselor, therapist, psychologist sitting somewhere so that someone can pour back into you, because you're probably spending the majority of your day taking away and pouring and feeding into someone else. So someone needs to be there to pour back into you.
I enjoy that aspect though. I like building the relationship with my clients. So I like, sometimes my clients, I'll be like, girl, what did happen? Where you been at? I like that. But I just know the domestic violence part was taxing for me only because I have a real problem with helping you and then you just go right back and then we back in the same scenario. Like, no.
Well, a lot of times too, like what you said, building that relationship, I do once I get to the point to where I break down the barriers, because I have to break those walls. They see an attorney, they're intimidated, they got a lot going on. So I do have to have those conversations with them and be like, girl, let's stop. Like, it goes back to, like you said, Taria, they want justice. But it's like, well, what justice look like? I have clients say, well, he did this to me, so he owed me. And I'm like, why would you allow that man to still control you? Because that's what I hear. He owes you. You think he owes you, but you're still giving him control. Because at any point, it doesn't matter if a court order says spousal maintenance, child support, or whatever, that man can wake up one day, go get him another woman, whatever the case may be, and no longer, quote unquote, take care of you or owe you like you want. And now you stuck out.
Oh, okay. Well, this is supposed to be get to know you. So what's the next question? They ain't get to know.
Did you always want to be a lawyer?
Are these all legal questions? Like,
ain't nobody talking about when they want to die.
Who's your favorite artist? Beyonce, of course. Who loves Beyonce? Raise your hand. Who's a hater of Beyonce? Raise your hand. Taria, Brandy.
I didn't raise my hand.
How did this turn to be a Beyonce?
That is Beyonce.
How did this turn into a Beyonce episode?
Because you asking all these like boring questions. People don't care about whether I want to always be a lawyer.
People do care. It might be somebody out there that might be looking.
Y'all know, ain't nobody looking for us talking about it. I wonder if she always wants to be a lawyer. Let's get to the juice. Okay.
What's the juice?
That Sam is obsessed with Beyonce. Okay.
I'm not obsessed with Beyonce, but she's the queen. Okay. What's your favorite TV show?
Hold on. Before we move on, because you're not gonna have that beehive running up on me. Okay. I am not. T Hutch is not a hater of Beyonce. I think she has a wonderful work ethic. I think we should all learn from her work ethic when she writes her book. Okay. If her ghostwriter writes the book, I think we should read it as to the work ethic. Now, are there other Beyonces being in Houston? Absolutely. There's tons of them. She just found the right opportunity.
Y'all caught that shade. I'm not even Y'all caught it.
So then, Sam, what's your favorite movie?
Of all time.
All times. Name your top 3.
Okay. My favorite movie of all time is Pretty Woman. Okay. Then I love Step Brothers by Will Ferrell, and probably Life would be like my top 3.
Taria, what's your top 3?
That's a good question. I was sitting here thinking. So the one I watch all the time is Friday, which probably doesn't, people always shocked by that one. Friday is a great one. Oh, I'm a huge thriller, like psychological thriller fan. And so there's a movie with Johnny Depp that I love, and it is called, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm not going to remember it, but essentially he's a writer who's psychologically messed up. And so he continues to go through the same day.
Isn't it called 13 or something?
Not 13 though. But I normally spend my days watching psychological thrillers because those are just amazing to me.
So that's your top two. So what's your third one?
And my third one, Color Purple. Love the movie.
Girl.
Love.
Have you read the book?
I have started the book. I realized that book is a little too much for me.
Because the movie is not like the book.
Movie is nothing. I watched the play and I was like, this play makes no sense. And then I went and got the book and I was like, oh, but
yeah, it's based off the play.
Right.
The play is based off the book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my top three.
Secret Window. That's the name of the movie.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, I see that. I've seen it. My top three is The Wizard of Oz, The Five Heartbeats.
Wait, hold on, pause.
Yes.
The Wiz or The Wizard of Oz?
You heard me. The Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home. The red ruby slippers.
Okay. Five Heartbeats.
That's yes. The Five Heartbeats. Love, we'll quote it, was sing my favorite part in the movie where they're in the bedroom cleaning up, him and his sister, favorite part of the movie. And number 3, Dreamgirls.
You are beyond.
Your dream girls.
Oh, Jennifer Hudson.
Happy. Yeah, we are dream girls.
That is not Jennifer Hudson's song when she sings to Jamie Foxx. Believe Me, I Do. That's my favorite song in the movie. Believe Me, I Do. So no, it's not.
What's my favorite song off there?
What?
When I first saw you.
Of course.
I said, oh,
Next, fun fact.
My dream.
What is a fun fact, Samantha, that you would want to let the audience know? What is a fun fact that we don't know? And
fun fact that we don't know.
Or you want people to know?
I have no fun facts. I'm not a fun person.
Okay,
well, really took my answer. Okay, that's
okay. Like an awkward thing,
no fun fact. So, what is your maybe you might have met a celebrity that somebody had met. I don't know, something like that.
Not any ones that I care to speak of.
That's a fun fact.
I don't know.
You doesn't have one. How do you want to die this week?
That's a Sam question. How do you want to die?
I don't know, but you know what? I thought about that missing girl from LSU, and I keep retweeting it because I will say this is like a fun fear. My biggest fear is someone going missing.
And nobody finding you. So you're gonna be bound and gagged, or you just gonna be in the woods?
Human trafficked.
You might be a little bit too old for that.
No, people see all this wagon I'm dragging, and then they follow me out the grocery store.
She doesn't look that old. So I mean, throw a baseball cap on and
I don't know. Sam look like she'll punch him in their throat. They try to throw her in the kidnapping van.
I have a philosophy that has worked throughout the years, ladies and gents. If you don't want to get kidnapped, okay. What you need to do is you need to start talking to yourself. Okay?
But we have masks on.
It don't matter. So if you think you're being followed or someone kidnapping you, be like, what you say? What you say? You talking to me? But you don't be talking to nobody. You be like, because they never kidnap crazy people. Never. They be like, oh, I need to leave her alone. You be like, no. Just start losing your mind.
I am convinced that you do that all the time. And
that's
nothing to do with anybody kidnapping you. That's just what you do.
She is lost her mind.
The voice in your head You know?
If you want to be left alone at the gas station, you could do that as well. Hey, little mama. You're like,
How about you just ignore them with "Hey, little mama" or "What it do" short?
hey, purple hair, purple
How
hair,
about I just ignore them
purple hair.
and just
You hear me?
I'm gonna get in my car as my gas is being pumped because I don't even like staying outside waiting on it. So
I'm staying outside. I will be flat foot in the. I don't care. You can say all that, and I will still stand right there. I'm not retreating.
No, let me rephrase it. I didn't say I was retreating. When I pump my gas, I just automatically get back in my car. Oh. So that's what I do. I just automatically, while it's still pumping, I just automatically get in my car. I don't retreat. Hey, look, I've heard all that all my life, so that doesn't faze me. I've gotten cussed out for not replying.
We forgot she's from Dallas.
Detail. Sam, where are you originally from?
Lamarck, Texas, baby. Towards Galveston, small town. Shout out Lamarck, Texas.
And Taria, where are you originally from?
Everywhere. She gonna say everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know that she said it every time.
Everywhere. I do. Listen. You can't let me have the childhood that I had. No, I was born in Tyler, Texas. But normally when I say that, people know it, and they all have a story, and they all want to tell their story about Tyler. And then I have to look at them and say,
but I was just born
when I was 5. I can drive through there, but you handing me a street name means nothing to me. And so that's why I normally say
what stories are in Tyler? They know.
I know, like
Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell. They went, or their mama went, or their cousins went to one of the big high schools there.
Isn't it like Chapel Hill or Whitechapel or something? I don't know.
Chapel Hill's down the street, but like Tyler, you have John Tyler, you have Robert E. Lee. So I know the high schools because my parents went to high school there. They're high school sweethearts. And I can drive through Tyler, but people like to have conversations, like to talk about the city as if, I've lived there. So
what is your favorite city in America?
DC.
Samantha.
It's out of DC or Chicago.
Mine is New Orleans and DC.
New Orleans is a great spot, but when you say like city, I don't think of it as like necessarily a city. You know what I'm saying? Like I think of it like a nice getaway. If you were like, what's your favorite getaway? That's my favorite getaway. But if you're asking like what city, then
See, I would say, okay, for me, it's still city because I like the culture, I like the food, I like the people and the atmosphere. And it is always a great getaway. Like I love it. I never leave New Orleans not happy. DC is a great city. It's fun for the for the history, for the scene. For Ben's Chili Bowl, one of my favorite spots in DC. Love that place.
If you didn't live in Houston, where would you live?
DC.
Me too. Just because I love the way DC makes me feel as a Black person.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
I feel very rich.
So what I just heard is that we could relocate to DC and be perfectly okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
Fit right in.
Good to know.
I wouldn't mind. I like Atlanta too, guys, though. I really
I'm not an Atlanta fan.
You don't? Why not?
Because to me, it reminds me of a high-priced Dallas.
It is very Dallas-y.
It's a very high price, like Dallas. It's pretentious.
Except there's one difference that Dallas has that Atlanta doesn't. Atlanta has less white people than Dallas.
I mean, so it's okay. So let me clarify. It's a Black pretentious version of Dallas, an overpriced Dallas.
Black people are very pretentious in Dallas, honey.
But they on a it's hot.
Tread lightly, Sam.
Okay, so here's the difference because I like Dallas too, but what I've seen is that like Atlanta has more opportunities for Black entrepreneurs, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with that. Yeah.
I've just seen a lot of people move to Atlanta and just thrive, right? Just off bat. I've lived in Dallas, and I've seen a lot of people act like they're thriving. But they're just regular citizens. Nothing wrong with being a regular citizen.
Don't tell that to them, Sam. They are thriving.
They are thriving, but different levels to this.
Well, I mean, to each his own.
So which one do you like better, Houston or Dallas? Even though your house is in Houston and you live in Houston.
I mean, I have a love-hate relationship for Houston right now.
Oh,
So.
she's shady.
Huh?
I said she's shady.
Who's saying?
I like Dallas more than Austin. I like
I
Austin.
don't like Austin.
I can't stand Dallas, and I have all my family in Dallas, and I will not move to Dallas.
That's fine.
I like Dallas.
Too much. The people are too much.
That's how I feel about Atlanta.
It is a lot in Dallas though, but I like I like my people from Dallas, right? So like my friends and colleagues are from Dallas, but it's always anytime I've been in Dallas, it's always like what you driving, what you got on, what you
That's
wearing.
in Atlanta. That's the same in Atlanta. That's the same thing in
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Atlanta's the same way. They
Though.
try to keep up with each other. Like they try to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not knocking it. Dallas, fine. I'm from there, born and raised. That is always gonna be home. They do the same thing. Dallas and Atlanta, you just got more black people in Atlanta than Dallas, but they do the same thing. It's the same to me.
And this is my issue with Dallas people, is that they don't want to hear the truth. They're not ready. They're not ready for it.
But see, here's the
They're
thing.
not
I never said I did not disagree. I didn't disagree, but I'm just letting you know Atlanta to me is the same.
Dallas people are like the beehive. Tread carefully what you're saying, because they're gonna come for you. Okay.
Hey, Dallas is a cool city though. I do like Dallas, but I do think that like I have friends that are in Atlanta and they are doing well, but to me, I do see the pretentiousness in both cities, right? Like they both want people to know I got it. Like I got money. I got that part. I just think that I meet a lot more people who like when I go to Atlanta, they be like, well, I own this business, that business. And they actually own the businesses. Like they actually say they have what they have. But sometimes in Dallas, they be saying this, and then when you be like, "Hey, can you hook me up with yada yada yada?"
Well, I don't know the people that you're dealing with in Dallas, but to answer your question, do I like Houston or Dallas better? I have a love-hate relationship with Houston because
what do you like about Houston? We read
traffic. But I like Houston better than Dallas. Like I'm never gonna move back to Dallas, so I think when it comes to Houston and Dallas, there's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of opportunity here for Black entrepreneurs, Black professionals. You always meeting somebody new, in my opinion, versus in Dallas, it's the same thing. I love Dallas, but I'm bored. Like when I go home, I'm like bored. And when I go home too, like when I'm asking about certain places, because I'm a foodie, nobody can tell me where to go. And I'm like, I don't understand this. So I do like Houston, but I think because I've been here for a while, it's just a love-hate relationship, but I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
I think it's more opportunities for Black people in Dallas than it is in Houston, though.
You think so?
In my opinion, yeah. I think that like here, like in Houston, the Black people, you have to be in a part of a certain circle to like move. And if you're not part of that circle, then you don't know the people. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to go to Willard Avenue. You have to be a part of this Black professional group. You have to know this person or that person in order to like move around, and you have to kiss the right ring. But I think in Dallas, it's more of people kind of not falling into those. I mean, they have the circles, but you don't have to fall into those circles to be successful. I think.
Now, when I did move to Houston, it took a while for me to get in, quote unquote, in those circles. Because now that I did realize people wasn't reaching out to help unless you know, I
You
noticed
have to
that.
get someone to vouch for you. I think it is
Yeah, that's
like
what you got to kind of
you have
make your
to
own
know the
name.
right people, and you have to like know an older person who could be like, okay, this person is straight, and then they will like give you the nod to like go in, which I guess is okay because it's like a vetting process. But I think like Dallas people, they're more open to connect you. Like that's what I always love about Brandy. Brandy is always trying to connect people with people, just off top. And I think that that's just more of a Dallas thing. Like, hey, do you know such and such? Oh, let me call this person. Let me call that person. Houston is like the Houston people with our podcast and the guests, they would be like, well, is this person qualified? Send me your resume. It's not just, oh, I know this person.
Well, we're about to come. We're at the end. I'm gonna ask one more question because we're getting ready to wrap up. The last question is Sam. This is a lawyer question, and you have to answer. If you gave up, if you gave up the practice of law, what would you do?
I have to answer it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want, if I could do anything, I want to be a screenwriter.
Oh.
And I would want to move to LA and write TV shows and movies.
Oh, see, that's a fun fact.
Well, there you go. You got it out of me. Look at you.
Fun fact.
Great lawyer.
See, Taria, what would you do if you gave up the practice of law?
Event planning. I would have planned events the rest of my life.
You could do that. You could do that now.
I could do it now. It's just I'm kind of strapped with time at this point, and so I'd want to give it my all, and even from the small budgets to the large budgets. So I kind of played around with it pre-COVID with my church. Before I left Houston the first time, I was able to plan some events for the church on shoestring budgets and make it do what it needed to do. But yeah, that's what I would do. So if I ever leave the practice of law, I already have the name picked out. I already have the logo, and I would launch my event planning business.
What about you, Brandy?
I would be a talk show host.
That would be perfect.
I'd be a talk show host. That's what I would go do. I wouldn't leave Texas, but I would like fly out on the weekends or whatever because I can't leave my mama. But yeah, I'd be a talk show host.
I would definitely leave to go do something.
I wouldn't leave my house. I would just fly there in a week or something. Like leave
Well,
out.
I always say that, but then like my husband lives in Utah, and I'm like, I'll stay here. Shout out to Utah. I mean, it's a beautiful state. Beautiful.
So do we have a rest my case?
Ooh, I actually do have a rest my case, but I want to go last.
I don't really have one.
I don't. So I was looking at the worldly news today, and you know the streets are talking about Mariah Carey's ex-husband.
Oh, he having twins.
That he's having twins, and the fact that he gave birth to another baby 4 months ago. And he took Christmas photos with one lady, and now he's taking maternity photos with another lady. And so they're just not okay with him impregnating these women. But my thing is, if he can afford the children and the woman is okay with this, why are we worried about it? When will we stop worried and be in everybody else's households and stay in ours?
I didn't know. I just saw the twins. I didn't know he had some other ones. I mean, I don't. Like you said, he got way more money. He can do whatever he wants to.
He can afford all of them.
Yeah. Is it what, 6 now? It'll be 6, 7, 8?
5 and 6. 5 and 6.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
So here's the deal. So my rest my case is twofold. One, I am a DMX fan. So I was very very, very sad to see that DMX had passed. So first, rest in paradise, DMX. I think he was a talent. Um, I think that the world lost a very, very special person, not just a rapper, but just a very special individual on so many levels. Um, but the rest my case part has to do with the things that people want to bring up after a person has passed. Okay. I saw a headline that said, uh, rapper passes something like brilliant but troubled. Why do we need to say troubled? The man passed. There was another post about how many houses he lost when he died, like, you know, what he didn't pay for. Why are you giving energy to that? Like,
Like that.
I'm sorry.
I said when Kobe died, they brought up, the rape case.
It's like when a person passes, why can't you just allow for their legacy to thrive? And why does it always seem like it's one-sided? Like nobody talked about Prince Philip and all of his infidelities and indiscretions.
Internet, yeah.
Somehow they're trying to blame a 99-year-old skeleton death on Meghan Markle, which I don't think she killed him when he looked dead already for the past 30 years. So, anywho, let's allow for the people who pass to let's celebrate the legacy that they leave and stop bringing up negativity. And then also celebrities, stop making it about you. Like the game talking about, let's give him his flowers while he was alive. Don't give him when they did. JC, we did celebrate DMX. We're not gonna celebrate you because you're weird, and that's that. And I'm telling you this while you're alive. So
Giving his flowers.
yeah, like let's not make it about you. You know, DMX, unfortunately, he passed away, but he did have a verses. He did do the Rough Riders documentary. So he was celebrated and treated as the legend that he was. So um RIP DMX. Let's celebrate people's legacies instead of tearing them down. That's my response.
You got to know us again, our faithful audience. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please keep listening, keep tuning in. Follow us on all our social media platforms, NFQ Pod on Twitter, at No Further Q on Instagram, and No Further Questions on Facebook. And we're out.